Jimmy, how about a game? I'm going to draw 2 cards. If you pick a card that's between the two, I'm gone. I'm leaving the channel.
A very tempting offer. Okay, let's do it.
Sorry, Jimmy. You lose.
2 out of 3.
Okay. You know what, Jimmy? You know what? Sorry. You lost. I'll be at your side forever.
Okay, fine, but let me show you something real quick.
What?
You have to come closer.
I can't see anything.
Closer.
Jimmy Gaddaar.
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage.
And I'm Deniz, the Buddymeister.
We have reviewed almost 400 Indian movies on this channel, and once a month all of our awesome Patreon and YouTube membership supporters can vote for a movie that we will review. Since we really loved the mystery thriller Andhadhun a few years ago, the options were all about filmmaker Sriram Raghavan, Badlapur, Ek Hasina T, and obviously the winner, Johnny Gaddaar.
The next poll is already up as well, and this time you can choose between 3 modern Tamil classics: Ayiratil Oruvan, Kati, and Paruthiviran.
If you want to vote, all you have to do is become a patron on patreon.com/JimmyCage or a member here on YouTube.
Johnny Gaddaar is a 2007 Hindi-language neo-noir thriller that was written and directed by Sriram Raghavan. It stars Neel Nitin Mukesh, Dharmendra, Rimi Sen, Zakir Hussain, Vinay Pathak, Ashwini Kalsekar, and many more. This is really an ensemble movie. It's an adaptation of the 1963 French movie Symphonie pour un massacre, which itself was based on a French novel that was released in 1962. But that's not the book Vikram is reading in the movie. Jimmy, what did you think about Johnny Gaddaar?
I like the movie a lot, and after this and Andhadhun, I'm definitely looking forward to watching more of Sriram Raghavan. The story about a group of gangsters and how everything falls apart is nothing new, but the screenplay, the characters, and just the overall storytelling and filmmaking are pretty nice. I am hoping that you liked it too.
You know what? I didn't like it. I loved it. See what I did there?
Great.
Yeah, I know. But seriously, I loved the movie. It's superbly entertaining. It's thrilling and tense. It's stylish. It's witty. Just a lot of fun. And it really gave me this feeling of being a complete and coherent movie that's just so well thought out.
Yeah, the screenplay is really nice. Certain developments are quite clear and probably also predictable, yet the movie has still some cards up its sleeve. And it's so great that it puts trust in the visuals. The movie isn't telling everything through dialogue. Take for example the great sequence in the train. There's no dialogue, there's also no music.
Yeah, and you must pay attention. The movie is quick-paced, it's fast, but it succeeds in bringing you up to its speed again and again, so you never really lost. It's just great storytelling.
It certainly reminded me of Quentin Tarantino, especially of Reservoir Dogs. But Sriram Raghavan is also taking inspiration from a lot of different noir fiction that's older than that. And he's also decorating his world with a lot of references.
Yeah, I thought of Alexander McKendrick's Lady Killers from 1955. The way the story unfolds, the different types of characters, how they entangle themselves in this crazy mix of envy and hate and errors of all kinds.
But it never feels like simple copy and paste, and though I'm quite familiar with a lot of gangster and noir movies, Johnny Gaddaar always felt like its own thing.
Absolutely. One reason for that is of course the Mumbai setting. I mean, it's not like the city is an integral part of the story, but you get a certain vibe from it. The heat, the sweat, the sleazy underground, and paired with these gangsters, it feels fresh, for us at least. And we have seen our fair share of Indian gangster movies by now.
Sriram Raghavan brings something unique to the table. For example, the way he uses violence in his movies. You never quite expect it to be as rough as it actually happens to be, and then it also kind of comes out of nowhere and overwhelms you, because it happens to characters that you thought were safe. You know what I mean?
I actually do, because when the gorier violence happens in Johnny Gadar, it reminded me of Andhadhun and the way I was surprised back then when I watched that movie.
But Sriram Raghavan also knows how to handle the characters. First, it's just the right number of characters to not get lost, and we are also able to connect certain traits with each one of them.
Yes, everybody gets this little bit of background that makes them interesting, so that they are no empty shells. We learn just enough about them to be invested and even care for some of them. And of course there are all these twists and turns and errors that throw each one of these characters off the rails again and again.
And it's not over the top or anything. In all this madness, the story remains reasonably realistic. I think the nice low-key ensemble cast, with Dharmendra of course being the most famous of them, plays a huge part in that.
And all of the actors get the room to be loud and aggressive, but also calm and restrained. I think all of them do a good job. The standouts for me were Dharmendra, who is this interesting mix of likable father figure and menacing gangster. Zakir Hussain is pretty cool, his Shardul reminded me a bit of Al Pacino's Tony Montana, and Vinay Pathak as Prakash is also pretty good because he's kind of a normal guy who becomes embroiled in all this stuff.
Govind Namdeo, who we already saw in Satya and Zafarosh, was certainly a standout for me. He's so ruthless, and at the same time he brings a certain dark comedic touch to the movie. Overall, I think Ashwini Kalseka is my personal favorite though. She's bringing so much fire, and I like how her character is at a threshold between the legal and the illegal world. Wanting to follow her own dream about that beauty parlor, but being with a man who's up to no good.
She's great, yes, and the chemistry between her and Vinay Pathak is wonderful. They're great together, and their long and tumultuous marriage is totally believable.
Unfortunately, I found the newcomer Neel Nitin Mukesh to be one of the movie's weakest elements. I mean, he's not bad, and his restrained acting fit the cold persona of his character, but I nevertheless found him to be a bit too bland.
I think I know what you mean. He is kind of charming in his very own way, and like you said, it fits the character of Vikram, who seesaws between being a perpetrator and being a victim, and being likable and unlikable, but I guess this special spark that would have made this character really memorable is missing.
I also think that he and Rimi Sen, who plays his secret love interest Mini, don't have the best chemistry. I think with someone a bit more charismatic and energetic, the movie would have sparked more emotions.
Yeah, but it's no huge detriment of the movie because it has so much to offer. We praise the narration and the visual style. With it comes the editing, which is pretty sharp.
There are several really neat match cuts that stood out.
The editing was done by Pooja Lada Surti, who edited all of Sriram Raghavan's movies except his first one, but she apparently co-wrote that one in addition to a few others.
Another pretty cool thing about Johnny Gadar is the soundtrack by Shankar Ehsan Loy. It's fresh and quite unusual. So yeah, this movie is a cinematic feast for the eyes and the ears, and that's why it's even more surprising that my absolute favorite moment in the entire film was something very small and very unexpected. I don't want to spoil it, but it's when one character is sitting next to the dead body of someone they loved, and the reaction is just so genuine and touching. This really got to me, and I think it's moments like these that elevate Johnny Gadar to something more than just a cool gangster thriller.
I agree, and I of course know which scene you're referring to because it got to me too. And I wasn't expecting such a profound scene that touches me deeply in a movie like this. It's great.
I think the runtime of more than 2 hours is stretching it a little bit too far though. About half an hour before the actual ending, I was sure the movie was about to end soon, and I think pacing it all a bit faster would have made this even more gripping.
Yeah, I mean the runtime wasn't an issue for me, but I agree. It still could have been narrated a bit tighter. But hey, all in all, Johnny Gadar is a fantastic movie. Even the ending works, so I'm really impressed and so eager to watch Sriram Raghavan's other movies. And there's apparently a new one in the making called Merry Christmas that's supposed to be coming out in December.
I didn't love it as much as you did, but it's a very good movie. So what would we say in German about Johnny Gadar?
Johnny Gadar ist ein stilsicherer, toll gespielter Gangster-Thriller, der mit einem cleveren Drehbuch aufwartet, das den Zuschauer trotz bekannter Genre-Elemente immer wieder aufs Neue zu packen weiß.
I give Johnny Gadar 7 out of 10. It's more like 7.4, but I don't do that.
For me, it's 9 out of 10. It's more like 8.5, but I don't do that either. Did you know that more than $147 million fake US currency is in circulation globally, with 60% circulating in the US?
Oh, didn't know that. So, what are your thoughts about Johnny Gaddaar? Leave a comment. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and also on Patreon, simply at the Jimmy Cage.
And you can hit me up on Twitter at the Buddymeister.
And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like.
And make sure you hit that bell for all we have to tell.